Bury me in a nameless grave. I came from God, the world to save. I brought them wisdom from above, worship and liberty.
Aleister Crowley has been a lifelong influence for me. Since his work is in the public domain, I decided it would kind of be cool to use the audio recordings that he made of himself reading his poetry between sometime between 1910 and 1920.
Not the devil. It's really just God's fear of its own shadow.
Amen was a lot of different songs, and I wrote a lot of songs about religion, and then I kind of thought I'm writing too many songs about religion, so maybe if I just take all the best lines and the best parts and the best riffs and sew them together into this Franken song that became Amen, that kind of covers all that ground, and then that's the song about religion for the entire album.
Down the Hudson on a 747, cross your fingers, hope this pilot here can drive.
Hudson is, I mean, it's a funny story. I wrote it the day that it happened because it was all over the news, and there's this, there was this footage of this, airplane skipping down the Hudson River, and there was this whole, news story about this miracle where he managed to land the plane on the water with, and nobody died. I study history, so I know what we're doomed to repeat. I think the title is self-explanatory. I've always been fascinated with history, and especially, colonial history and imperial history, and the Mongol Empire, the Roman Empire, the Chinese Empire, all of those ancient, North African and South American empires, and the way different ideas and art and technology and mathematics and musical instruments is moved from one place to another and get reinterpreted. The way the way the erhu made its way to Europe and became the violin. The way
It's simple minds and manufactured madness, a few of others coupled with the fear of being alone.
idle minds. Boredom makes you crazy. Boredom makes you self-destructive, and I think a lot of people know that. And
In this area, of steel and stone, I wander through the crowd alone. Cold rage in my bones.
Steel and Stone is kind of a more personal song, and I don't really want to get into the meaning of it. It's based on a conversation of somebody who's gone now, and that would be the only other person who would actually really understand, what I'm getting at in the song at all.
Life is like a game of snakes and ladders, but the ladders are made of snakes. The good thing is it only matters when you're sober and awake.
Sunset Over the Ocean is kind of hard to explain. It was originally a thrash song, kind of. It was originally an Echo Abios song. Echo Abios was a kind of industrial punk band that I was in the 90s that didn't really go anywhere. And the song was called All or Nothing at the time, but it became Sunset Over the Ocean. I guess when I decided to put it on the dulcimer, play it, the version that's on the album on the dulcimer, with the ocean waves in the background, and then that segues into Red Eye Bus.
And a sunset over the prairies, just like a sunset over the ocean on the drive. But the fact that I'm back home in Regina, broken all alone, makes it feel so old and tired. I feel so old and tired, and I'm...
Red Eye Bus is a sad song. And I wrote it about 15 years ago, and I wish I would have had things more together and recorded and released stuff back then, because Greyhound's gone now and STC's gone, and it's like nobody's gonna know what a red eye bus is anymore. So it's a song that will make sense to people old enough to remember when you could take a Greyhound bus across the country, because that's not a thing you can do anymore, which is kind of sad. Sunset Over the Prairies is basically the guitar part for Mayerthorpe, and when I kind of decided that Red Eye Bus could segue into Mayerthorpe, I realized that the intro to Mayerthorpe was kind of longer than the rest of the song, or almost as long as the rest of the song. So I took a large part of the intro off, and I decided to call it Sunset Over the Prairies.
They're coming to get you now, sooner or later, 'cause everybody's patriot is someone else's traitor. If you
Mayerthorpe is about an incident that happened in a town called Mayerthorpe, Alberta, where RCMP were raiding a grow up, and the person running it had an automatic rifle and fought back, and he died, as well as 4 RCMP. And there's a lot of different people have different interpretations of it. Like, the main takeaway is, everybody's patriot is someone else's traitor.
get me the hell out of here.
Labor office. When you see a man my age applying for a job sweeping floors or working in a goddamn warehouse, please don't ask me where I see myself in 5 years, because really, I probably don't. And that's just the reality that I use music to hide from.
And the enemy, my enemy, is my next enemy.
My next enemy is based on, basically, it's a character from the video game Rust. This character that exists in a war zone. It's your entire life. You don't remember a childhood. You don't know anybody. You don't have a name. You are simply surviving and fighting and trying to stay alive. And then you die and you're reborn again, and spawn, die, repeat.
Let's kill the Sane.
Kill the Sane. Can you think of a reason not to? It's a short, simple little song. Not really much to say about it.
Those nightmare chasms choked with the pithecanthropoid, Celtic, Roman, and English bones of countless unhallowed centuries.
Rats in the Walls is a guitar jam tune, and kind of the way that it came about is a lot of times I'll sit and play guitar for a long time, and I'll have something playing in the background to shut my brain off. I had the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft, playing regularly in the background. At a certain point, I found myself using the rhythm of Ian Gordon's voice, because he's got such a rhythmic quality to it. The Rats in the Walls kind of wrote itself from that.
Another scoop of water on the rocks. Now that the lodge is getting hot, the heartbeat of the earth sounds on the drum. And now I remember where I'm from.
Water on the Rocks is about the sweat lodge. Being in a sweat lodge, it's something that I end up doing every once in a while. And it's kind of a personal song, and I really can't explain too much about what it means. I was playing the baglama, which is a relatively new instrument for me. I don't play it that often. And I was just I had this nice piece going, and I didn't have any words for it. I didn't have any, idea of a title in mind, so I named it Lord of the Earth, after the line in, the first line in the poem.